Number 1.
Retro Rewind Video Store Simulator is a simulator game where you manage and decorate your own video rental store in the 90s. It is played from a first-person perspective, and as the manager you handle tasks such as rewinding tapes, manning the cash register, and stocking shelves. However, as with most simulator games like this, you'll be able to hire staff and automate tasks, leading to a quite addictive gameplay loop. It was created by two indie devs from Canada using Unreal Engine 5, and according to Gamealytic, it sold around 420,000 copies and reached an estimated gross revenue of $7.5 million, which is absolutely insane. Despite that, I had a really hard time finding any information about how the game was made, but I did remember that the developer was a viewer of Bite Me Games, and I first heard about the game while watching one of Marnix's streams a long time ago. While I was able to find the stream again, there sadly weren't any additional comments from the developers to give us any more information.
Okay, this guy had no notes, he just wanted to share the game with me.
As a last-ditch effort, I looked Retro Rewind up on Moby Games, and it turns out the main developer has a lot of experience working in the game industry, which explains the high level of polish the game has. So while this isn't the story of a random guy in his basement making it big with their first game that many people want to hear, it's still a great success story of a small team making a successful game with Unreal.
Number 2.
Spirit Strike is a third-person action-adventure created with Unreal Engine 5. The combat is influenced by the Ninja Gaiden series, but also very obviously by the PS2 title God Hand. It's currently still in early access, but already managed to sell about 18,000 copies and has an estimated gross revenue of almost $200,000. About 40% of the units sold in China, which is also the home country of the solo developer, Maicha Studio. But Spirit Strike also managed to reach an audience in the West, and I downloaded the demo about a year ago after seeing Maximilian Dude play it. In a Reddit post, the developer mentions how this is his first game and he's still quite new to game development. He originally tried making a fighting game, but that turned out to be too complex and time-consuming, so he pivoted to making an action-adventure, which I must say is also very ambitious considering how many high-quality animations and character models you need. It took him about 1,000 days of development until the early access launch, which was about 1 year ago, and he's still delivering updates and adding content to prepare for the 1.0 launch of Spirit Strike. In a Twitter post, he also mentions how he quit his job on a whim to work on this game, and considering that he almost made 200k so far, that gamble worked out for him, but in most cases, a decision like that would end as an absolute disaster, and I wouldn't recommend it. Before we move on to the next game, a quick word from this video's sponsor, FlexiSpot. About 6 months ago, they sent me their C7 Morpher, which is a premium ergonomic chair. Since I do spend about 10 hours a day in front of my PC, the chair I was using before just didn't cut it and gave me horrible back pain. But since I switched to FlexiSpot's chair, my posture has become much better naturally, and it's very comfortable even for long programming sessions. And even after a couple of weeks of using it, my back pain was completely gone. There are so many things you can adjust about the chair to allow you to sit in the most comfortable way. I especially love the headrest, which you can't only adjust vertically, but you can also pull it forward to perfectly support your head. The 5D armrest can be fully adjusted to be in the ideal position for typing and gaming, and the best thing about it is that if you lean back, the angle of the armrest also adjusts with you to provide support at every angle. The Flexi Lean Tech used in the backrest allows you to adjust the angle forward by up to 10 degrees to match your sitting position and fully support your upper back all day long. I also love to pop out the footrest and lean back when gaming or watching movies, and I now prefer sitting in this chair over using my sofa. The chair comes with a 30-day return policy for risk-free trial and a 10-year warranty with direct replacement for damaged parts. Use my code in the video description to get the best price on FlexiSpot chairs, and if you have a limited budget, you can also check out their C7 and C5 chairs, which also have a great build quality and basic functions for adjustments. Now back to the next title.
Number 3.
Grimhook is a fast-paced first-person action platformer which was made with Unreal Engine 5.1. This one's a bit different from the other games I talked about so far since it's actually a free student project, but it managed to reach over 170,000 downloads between the itch.io and Steam version, and it currently has an overwhelmingly positive rating on Steam with players wanting more. Grimhook started as a game jam project with 6 members, but the team grew to a size of around 30 when they decided to keep on working on it to turn it into a short but complete game. While the game jam version took about a week to complete, the game you can now find on Steam took about 9 months of development, and we can find a lot of interesting information in the portfolios of some of the developers who worked on it. In the portfolio of the technical designer Jared Ellis, for example, we can find a breakdown of how he implemented the ground pound ability using curve assets and blueprints, but it appears they didn't only use blueprints but also some C++ for the game. And on the portfolio page of the level designer Ian Percy, we can find some footage of early versions of the game still using blockouts, and also some notes and breakdowns of his thought process when making the levels for Grimhook.
Number 4.
Shashingo Learn Japanese with Photography is an educational game teaching you Japanese vocabulary through virtual photography. It was created with Unreal Engine 5 and is a huge success, having sold around 40,000 units and reaching an estimated gross revenue of over $600,000 on Steam, while also being available on the Nintendo Switch. Shashingo was mainly created by a solo developer, with Ryan doing the planning, modeling, and programming by himself, while getting help with checking translations, the music, and voiceovers. Through an article by 80 Level, I was able to figure out that Ryan likes many different aspects of game development, but is mostly experienced with art and making 3D models, which explains why Shashingo looks absolutely beautiful. He stated that all of the 3D models were created with Blender, texturing was mostly done through Substance Painter and Designer, and all other graphics were created with Affinity Designer and Photo. While he also dabbled in C++ with Unreal Engine, Blueprint Visual Scripting was a lifesaver since it was a lot easier to learn than other programming languages and allowed him to iterate quickly. While developing the game, Ryan considered partnering with a publisher, but he was actually able to finance development from his freelance work and savings, eventually self-publishing on Steam and the Switch. When it comes to marketing, he was able to gain a following through a couple of very successful tweets, an active Discord community, being featured in the Wholesome Indies Direct 2021, and a Kickstarter campaign that managed to reach about £37,000 or $50,000 of funding. On a side note, as somebody who's been living in Japan for about 10 years, there are definitely more effective ways to learn the language, but I think playing Shashingo is a fun way to get the ball rolling for absolute beginners.
Number 5.
Loot Loop is an incremental 2D game where you lead a party of adventurers, which was created with Unreal Engine 5.5. It was a huge success, selling about 75,000 units, and it's currently sitting at an estimated gross revenue of over $320,000. Since this is a 2D game made with Unreal, I just had to try it out and I got completely sucked in through the addictive gameplay loop, and I finished the game in one sitting. It doesn't only use Paper 2D, but actually also the free Paper ZD plugin to handle character animations, and I got a lot of background information from the developer. I'm gonna keep this section short since I have a dedicated video about Loot Loop coming up, so make sure to subscribe if you don't want to miss it. As always, a huge thanks to my awesome patrons and YouTube channel members.